Hi guys, I hope you're doing well wherever you're hiding, wherever you're showing yourself, wherever you're working, wherever you're hustling. Welcome to this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup. I'm called Arthur Ngira Joke for the love of cars. We love cars, we all love cars. That's why you're watching this, right? But I hope you're doing well. I hope the week went well. Today is Saturday. It's the 22nd of February 2025. The second month is going. I hope your goals, ambitions, you're working on them and that you're moving. Personally, I'm trying, I'm hustling, I'm fighting, and I'm happy with where we're going. Yeah, but I hope you guys are doing well. This weekly roundup, we have some few bad news, but the bad news is not as much. We have a few things that we're going to learn about as well. We start with in Maracha district. Maracha is a district that I did not know existed. Omanyu, we be here in our Kampala and watch it, so we think the Uganda ends here, and probably a few districts that we know, like PG, Masaka, Mbarara, Bushenyi, Rukunjiri, Gulu, Apach, Moyo, Nakasongora. Nakapiripiri is a district. Oh. You see how we don't know Uganda? Jinja, Mbale, Budaka, Sironko. Sironko is a district, right? The districts are too many. Sometimes we also lose count. I think you'll be there even in 2027. They might bring new districts. Yeah, but in Maracha district, we had an accident there on 20th. So it's a bus. The Nile Star bus lost control. The guy was trying to overtake and he lost control. And of course, the driver is one of the people that is the first person that died. Sorry about that for his family. And so he attempted to overtake a vehicle, and bus in Kaggwa, and the passengers were definitely also injured. It's not clear how many people died in that accident, but the fact that it happens when someone is overtaking, I've seen buses overtake very badly, and you cannot talk about it normally, or even if you talk about it, nothing can be done because buses are owned by the big people, yeah? So their companies cannot be touched. Their drivers drive really badly. And the buses are driving badly. They overtake in corners, very sharp corners. They overspeed, and yeah. But sorry for the people that were injured and people that lost property. So the bus was headed from Arua and going to Koboko. Yeah, never go. And of course, yesterday I did a video on TikTok and I was talking about how we drive. And then Mr. Commuter UG said, Arthur, you should definitely talk about the people that overtake in corners. In Buziga, a Mark X collided with a Range Rover. And what happened is the Mark X was overtaking in a corner. Nasanga you a Range Rover, and it was bad. So whenever you feel like overtaking, I want you to think about, is it worth it in case I get a very big problem? I was talking to a friend to my former plumber, God rest his soul. And I was telling him, the moment you get a car, upgrade. Your life has been up. God has helped you to upgrade. You get a car. Stay in a car. Don't go back and forth. And then this guy was telling me, you know what, Arthur, sometimes we are late, we want to go first. And then I asked him, okay, we lost the plumber. Was the rush worth it? But when you finally lose a leg, or when you die, or something bad really happens to you, or you lose your brains, or you lose an arm, will you actually think to yourself, okay, the rush was worth it? It wasn't. So don't overtake in sharp corners, guys. It's like you ditching your car for a border in order to rush for a meeting where you're going to earn like a 1 mile or a 2 mile or a 3 mile. The injury you can get from the hurry will probably cost you more than 20 million. Always remember that. Please don't overtake in corners. I'm one of the people that is very fast. I can overtake almost everywhere as long as it's not a corner. You get? Because in corners, majority of the time you cannot see what is coming, or if you can see, the other people cannot see you. And that's why you should always think about it before you overtake in a corner. Kati on one Nile Star, And sometimes you overtake a car that is bigger than yours, yet your car is actually slow. I've seen a Chigege overtaking a trailer, and halfway the trailer, the Chigege guy sees a car coming, so he has to brake at the Mabegawa trailer. Now imagine you brake wanting to go behind the trailer, and then the person behind the trailer refuses. Then we get problems there. So guys, don't overtake in sharp corners, don't overtake in unsafe zones, and then probably we can save more lives, especially the guys that drive buses. I know there are people that drive taxis, that drive lorries and buses that follow us here. They watch these videos. Please keep safe. The rally is not worth it. When you ask yourself, if you have not been able to make an amount of money for the past 30 to 40 years, you think you're going to make all the money that you have not made in the past 30 years in the next 2 hours? The answer is always no. And I've realized that sometimes you go, reach very fast, and then you find that even the people that you are rushing to find are late. That's how Uganda operates. You get it? So please keep safe. Don't overtake in corners. Don't just overtake anyhow. Make sure it's safe. And of course, speaking about overtaking in sharp corners and all that, let's talk about reckless driving in Chenjojo. Yeah, in Chenjojo, this is on 19th, the day before the one in Maracha district. There is a town called Ngezi. It's in Chenjojo district. 10 people died when taxis collided with each other. And of course, normally with things like this, everyone is saying what they are saying, but this is what I think happened. Now, my thought might not actually be valid for you, but this is what I think, because I've seen it on the road majority of the time. When two cars are traveling opposite direction and they're in their own lane, yeah, it's very rare to find two taxis or two vehicles keeping in their lane, crashing into each other. Now, the taxis in Chenjojo, one was going to Kampala, one was going the opposite direction, and they collided. We all know that under circumstances like that, it's one car overtakes, finds another, and then it cannot come back, and then they collide. In the past, baga mangompira gwa yabise, especially if a driver survives, that will be the story. Driver wasigara mulamu agamba omupiira gwanjabiseeko, because that's the first defense over. It's very hard for you to find those accidents like that where cars collide and the front tire survives. And if a front tire bursts, literally almost all the time something like that could happen. So, but if the driver doesn't survive, that's normally when the information might not actually be distorted. But what I think happened in Chenjojo is that two taxis were headed in the opposite direction. One taxi overtook, two taxis headed in one direction. These are the lanes, yeah? One taxi tries to overtake a car in front of it and finds another taxi. But by the time it finds another taxi, there is another car here. So, and that's just what happens. So guys, don't overtake recklessly, but also don't overspeed. Yesterday, as I was driving, I was going through one of those trading centers in my village, Jembera, and a kid out of the blue crossed in front of my car. A kid of 5 to 6 years crossed in front of my car. Now I'm imagining to myself, if I was doing 60 kilometers per hour, there is no way you save that kid. I was doing 30 kilometers per hour, but after that kid crossed into in front of my car, when I'm driving in areas like that, now I do 20 kilometers per hour. Why? The problems that will come to you after you have knocked down a kid, you might actually die there. You get? So the problems that come after you have knocked someone, an adult, it's probably easier, but a kid, the civilians can actually ban you. I have a piece of news that I'm going to share where people in another country that is not Uganda actually came to the rescue of other people when someone blacked out. I'm going to share that. Yeah, and of course, still KCCA was handed the flyover at Queen's Queensway Clock Tower. Flyover, it's round, people can walk around. There's a footbridge that goes in the round, and then there's the cars that come from Zambia can go all the way up, and the cars that come from Katwe can go all the way up, and they go all the way to Zambia. And then there is a bridge. There's a bridge up there in Zambia. Then there is a small tunnel there. So the Ministry of Works handed over that project to KCCA for maintenance. The Ministry of Works constructs, but the local councils can be given access to maintain. So in this case, KCCA is supposed to be the one that maintains this road. Now, this road, the flyover project, the collection of roads that were constructed there are meant to last 100 years. The design, at least. So after 100 years, then they can renovate or probably break it down and build another one. Yeah. So they are meant to do 100 years. After 100 years, then you'll find that they either renovate or build another one. So it also depends on how KCCA maintains. But when they were being given this, they did this on the 19th. So as they were being given this, they were also given cars for patrol. They were given these sweepers. Yeah, you guys that live abroad, you guys that have traveled abroad, of course, like me. In my studio here, I have people that have not traveled. Probably for the love of cars, you will sponsor us and we take our team to one of those auto shows. Is it all of you? All of you? You have gone where? Kenya? Where have you gone? So, for the love of cars community, we are going to launch a GoFundMe so that my team, we go to one of those auto shows, either in America or where, so that we go and my team explores the advanced world. We see things that are happening. They probably go visit one of those factories there. But yeah, it feels bad that these people have not gone. Doesn't feel good at all. Sorry guys, sorry. But I'm going to work on it. So, but KCCA was given those sweepers. And one of the problems that, of course, now this road, the flyover was funded by the Japanese government. Yes, it was funded by the Japanese government. There is that thing called JICAI, Japan International Cooperation Agency. Yeah. So I don't know how these guys benefit. It's something I have to probably learn. You get it? I have to learn how these guys benefit, but maybe they just have money to throw around. But no, they're definitely benefiting one way or another. But that's something that maybe we have to explore as young. I'm not young, I'm 35. We as senior citizens. We have to learn these things. Younger people, but me, I'm a senior citizen. We have to educate us. So very soon I'll be also exploring how JICA benefits from funding our projects here. Probably we give them, it's a loan. Maybe if it's not a loan, we have to learn how they benefit. So anyway, remember in January 2024, Honda and General Motors came and created an alliance for them to create hydrogen fuel cells. It's a technology that they're developing, but soboro kubanga we ditch like gas or petrol, tankokwesa hydrogen and all that. But bachikoze for like a year, and as of February, Honda ditched the entire arrangement. Negamba, you know what? I think we can do this on our own. Which take it. And I think this partnership for the like 1 year has been working out. There is a time I was told by a lady, one of the prominent guys in marketing, and she told me the reason why Vodafone in Uganda could not work out was because the directors or the people that founded Vodafone Uganda could not agree on which direction they wanted to take. They wanted to take the organization, and if you've learned, we have all these alliances. Arthur can create an alliance with someone else. Alliances are meant to help you create things or do things that you would otherwise not be able to do if you were alone. And sometimes there are some sharp people that will create an alliance with you just to steal your knowledge. Probably Honda did that. I'm not saying they did, but they broke out. They created a company called Fuel Cell System Manufacturing LLC, which take it and for a year until they broke away. I don't know if the decision for Honda to go solo will benefit them, but maybe they realized that GM is not actually as strong as they thought, or they realized that GM was just a drag and stuff like that. And then, of course, in Louisville, you people that don't know how to read words will say Louisville. At least I have 3 people in this room that would say Louisville. I had all of you would be saying Louisville. So in Louisville, Nendo nyizo banze njogera ekichamu ngekiga kiri Louisville. So in Louisville, someone went in a motor vehicle office now shooting abantu. On 21st, of course, which was yesterday. And 3 people died. So according to the Metropolis Department, the shooter opened fire inside the office, killing one individual at the scene. 2 others died, succumbed to the injuries when they went to the hospital. So they have not yet, the people after shooting people, so it doesn't just happen in Uganda where someone can just come and shoot at people and then disappear. But even in Louisville, what the other person would say Louisville, even in Louisville it can happen. And in India, it's proving my theory that moving during the festive season could actually prove to be dangerous. In India, you know, they have this festival called Mahakumbh. How do you pronounce it? Hey, Mahakumbh. Nikat baba indi baina bachogera. So there is that festival called Mahakumbh in Prayagraj in India. So people go to that festival and then they return, and it's literally everyone goes to that festival and then returns. And on this particular festival this year, a lot of people died. For example, 3 people died. Mwalimu doctors, babidi no ne driver wawe. They died as they were returning. So what happened? They crashed into a stationary vehicle. Oluyinja lwabasise ne balumba emmoloka yabadde stationary neetomera. Then other people era nabo ne bafa. Okitegeera 10 pilgrims babadde bakomawera kuva mu festival yemu era nabo emmoloka nebawabako and they died. And of course in Uganda, if something like that happened, people would be saying, oh, festival yes holiday and stuff like that. There are satanic things there. I don't believe that satanic things exist in places like that or anywhere. Of course, now me, I'm a director. For us to believe that a protagonist and antagonist are all good people. The protagonist wants to achieve something that we agree with. The antagonist wants to achieve something that we don't agree with. And the antagonist can only achieve the protagonist is out of the way. The protagonist can only achieve if the antagonist is out of the way. You get the relationship. So the relationship between Satan and God would be like that. For Satan to succeed, God has to be... For God to succeed, Satan has to be out of the way. You get? So that's the relationship that happens. So that's, for a person like me who is a director, I would just believe there is no bad person. That if you want to be in the good books of the bad person, be as bad as them or do what they want. If you want to be in the good books of the good person, be as good as them or be in their good books. Yeah, but personally, I don't believe in traveling during the festive season, because when you travel during the festive season, a lot of bad things can happen. A lot of bad drivers exist. A lot of drunk drivers exist. When you travel during the festive season, that's why in the Christmas, Easter, all those festive. Even here locally in Uganda, a lot of people die during the festivities. And these Indians actually lost doctors. The assistant to one of the doctors, he is surviving. But may the souls of the guys that died over the last week rest in peace. Right, and Tesla is planning to start selling EVs in India. I don't know how I feel about this, because from what we know, India seems to be poorer than us. That's why abayindi bajja eno ku kyeyo. Babuze kukola bwa kadama. If we don't have we don't have a Tesla dealership in Uganda, how are they going to maintain one in India? But anyway, what is motivating Tesla to set up their dealership in India? It's because the Indian government reduced tariffs for people that are investing more than $500 million in the into local manufacturing within 3 years. And then they say only 5% of that 500 million goes to charging infrastructure. I'm not sure about what the details of what tariffs are being reduced for them, but it must be a very big thing. Of course, Tesla, it's not going to manufacture the cars there. I think they're just going to assemble. From what I've been able to access, the information I've been able to access is that Tesla is saying they're going to import cars from their Germany plant, yeah? But Trump, you know, Tesla, I know no guy, Elon Musk is a friend to Trump. Even Biz there in the Oval Office has Trump. Anyway, President Museveni has no friend. You realize at least Trump has this guy who comes with his kid in the office. President Museveni has no friend. Actually, do you guys realize we don't even have a picture of President Museveni in his office? Does he have an office? All the pictures, every meeting that President Museveni has, he has it in a hotel, yeah, or in the dining room. Like all the images that I have in my mind of we went and met President Museveni, he was sitting on the other end of the table. I imagine a long table, like those ones of the Bani guy, the Vikings. You get? But we need to see a picture of the White House office. No, State House office. But anyway, Donald Trump is a friend to Tesla CEO Elon Musk, and Trump said, Tesla boy beg no call a factory in India. That's something he said. Let me read for you. Trump said, if he built the factory in India, that's unfair to us. They have given too much to Elon Musk. Bamukiriza ayononye amenyewo you say agenda buli muntu amukuba kitamusanyusanga akijjawo because they gave him Dodge, the Department of Government Efficiency. Kitegeeza oba toli efficient, oba toyamba ku government kubeera efficient. Musk asobola okujjawo. Kati you can imagine you have given a man such power and he goes and sets up a factory in India. Chandi Badente, he sets up the factory, stays in the United States, and then he exports to India, and then you get foreign exchange. But if he's setting up, I agree with Trump. I agree, people are difficult about to like give this guy all this power and then he goes and sets up a factory in India. But of course you guys know the motivation. So maybe even our government needs to give Tesla motivation to come and set up a dealership here in Kampala. I'm not gonna put on a t-shirt today. Right, and Australia has new directives on cars, yeah, as of Friday 21st, which was yesterday. So they have, like, countries can bring standards, yeah, they can push out directives. Like for us here, most of the directives we have are the directives that make the government get money. Yeah, like they recently we did the speed in zones. For example, which was 30, now it's 25, which was 100, now it's 80, and stuff like that. When you go beyond, then you get express penalty tickets. If you go beyond more, you get more money to pay. But just the way it has done that, you don't find that in any other country. But here, it is here. And so Australia has its own regulations, and they have the ADR, the Australian Design Rule. And there is a rule where they mandate all car manufacturers to manufacture cars sold 2024 and above. They should have autonomous emergency braking. What do we mean by autonomous emergency braking? If you're driving your car and it senses that someone is going to move into the path of your car, how do that do it? They have radars, they have cameras. The car has a lot of electronics that helps it to sense people from a distance. So it has to sense, if for example I'm driving like this and someone is walking towards the car, yeah, the car will tell me, you know what, a person is moving towards the car, slow down. And if you don't slow down and the person comes really close to the car will stop. So that's what it does. And it does this from 20 kilometers per hour and above for human beings, and from 20 kilometers per hour and above for vehicles. You get. I can imagine the instance that happened, the one I've read about in India, where these guys crashed into a stationary vehicle. Your car will sense it before you sense it, and it will stop. Now, in terms of vehicles, it doesn't actually stop. It might not be able to stop the car if you're going really fast, but it reduces the impact for up to 20 kilometers per hour. Let's say you're doing 60 kilometers per hour. No, up to 60 it stops. But let's say you're doing 70 kilometers per hour and you don't stop, the car will automatically stop and reduce the impact by 20 kilometers per hour, which means bw'oba obadde wakutomera mmotoka and feel the impact of 70 kilometers per hour, it will do the emergency braking and reduce it up to 50 kilometers per hour. So chitegeza, if you could have died, then you're not going to die. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So that's a regulation that is happening in Australia. And of course they have other regulations as well, like regulations on bulbs. What bulbs can you put in your car? They have regulations on emissions. That's how we for us here in Uganda, we get cars that have been regulated by other people. That's why it's very hard probably for the police here to make anything stick, because they have to get the regulations from, let's say, if they say that all cars should have autonomous braking here as well, then they'll have to get the rule from Australia and then revise here. Okitegeera kati baba tebagitegeera bulungi, n'abapalamenti bennyini abayise etteeka olumba tebanalitegeera nga tebalisindise ku poliisi, nga ne poliisi tenalitegeera nelisindika mu ofiisa n'atandika kulya buli naye nga wombuuza muzeeyo nkwatidde kingaga kati ng'oyo omusirikale yankwata ku bitala wali emulago nga mutuufu wempise tewali kitaala daga no, yes there is no traffic light but you had to look left and right. Kati nebuuza, how can she prove that I did not look left and right? Oba nadde nyinamu kubira simugamba afando nengera I'm looking left and right. Ayinza okuba yali amfayininga butamugamba nti ngenda tunula left and right. Kati ndozo otegeera the challenges we have here in Uganda. But let me just explore a bit of what the UN is. Now, for the people that don't know what the UN is, the UN is the United Nations. Nations United. And it has various bodies all around the world that help. Like there is UNAIDS, there is UNICEF, there is a lot of UN organizations, yeah, that are supposed to make the world a safer place, a better place, and all that. Now, there are people that have reservations about the UN and what it does and what it's meant to do and what it will be doing. But among what the UN does, it includes introducing standards of what vehicles should be like. That includes safety. That includes emissions. You get. So there is every car manufacturer that is going to manufacture a vehicle, they will go and look at the standards set by United Nations. Now, the United Nations organization that is in charge of making sure that we have good cars on the road is based in Europe. And that's where, if you're going to start manufacturing, I don't know what regulations that Kira EV goes by, but they have to have all those things. But of course, because UN will have their regulations, but as a country, you can decide to disregard them or reject them. But why do car manufacturers say we want to use this? Is because it's easier for you to move from Uganda and start manufacturing cars in Germany as Kira EV if you are able to adhere by the UN regulations or standards, because Germany will recognize you. But if you say tugenda kola standards ezaffe nga banna Uganda, kati Germany wogenda ate bagenda zigoba emmoroka. Things like ABS control, the ABSs there, ziyambako daylight moving lights, seat belts, airbags, all those are standards that are introduced by the UN government. Kati ne bono abana bateka bulb ziwane zitu blinding. There are regulations for that in the US. We don't have regulations for that here in Uganda. Ojagenda okwesanga tukopa bali bagambye eki nga naffe kye tukola. We don't have even machines that measure the intensity of the lights on the bulb. But once that comes on, ojja kwesanga tandika okweyagala. Now, countries can choose to not comply by the UN regulations. But if you choose to not comply by UN regulations, basobola okusaako envumbo ze bayita barriers. Nagambe yo emmoroka yeeyo gye bakolera ku company eno teri safe. And you don't want that. And of course, you can decide to do partial adoptions. And then you can make your case over that. Yeah. And if you comply, you save costs, you have access to other markets, you can be a safety leader in your environment and all that. There's a lot of that we are going to explore a little bit later on. But that's what happened in Australia. I hope that here in Uganda as well, our government can end up introducing things like that. Nganafe bidikira nga baffe babikoledde ffe banna Uganda okitegeera. We rule the world. So I've just learned that New Zealand and Australia are literally almost the same countries, but they have cultural differences. That's besides the point. In Auckland, something that we get here in Uganda normally, for them it's a surprise. that the commuters abadde batambuza ebigere bataasizza. Yeah, bataasizza. So they even call it a dramatic incident. Commuters intervened to stop a runaway car after its driver suffered a medical episode. You know how you can... I've been talking about low blood pressure for some time for the guys that follow the live broadcast. And if you have low blood pressure, you can actually just die. Ozikira buziki zote. So someone had a medical emergency, nazirika, and emuruka ne waba. When the car bweyatandise okuwaba, people came ne bakona ku hood bonnet ye moroka. Ucha akona ku bonnet bamuzukusi nenga bambi the guy had blacked out and the car went all the way and stopped on a barricade, and that's how they got him out ne bamutwala mu ddwaliro. Now the people in Auckland are very happy about this. They are saying things like, oh, I hope when a family member of mine gets an emergency like this, people would actually come and help him. For us in Uganda it happens, but before they help you, they steal the property you have. So a friend of mine was telling me last time that bali ku kyalo moroka ne wabawo akabenje kyaliwe yeyabbe essimu, and then he came and told him eno essimu ogiraba wakati njikolere ekyo banzi gye line nji okitegeere naye nga he took a phone from a dead person. So in Uganda it happens, people help you but after stealing from you, and I think the helping bit, at least they help you keep alive, but the stealing thing is not good. So for these guys in Auckland, for them it's the first time to see that, oh, actually people can help. Yeah, and gender bajetulaga yeyo. You can imagine on the northern bypass, on the express, remember when I saw the border accident with the double cabin that I witnessed myself, I just drove away. Why? Because I was seeing, there's an interview I was watching of a certain lawyer, Ngagamba. Their professor at university told them, never volunteer evidence. Never volunteer evidence. You can volunteer evidence and it's turned around and used against you. And they were saying, like, never say anything if your lawyer is not present. You keep quiet and say, I want to talk to my lawyer. And then when lawyer comes, your lawyer can advise on what to say, but never volunteer evidence. That the Australians or the New Zealanders, because that's in New Zealand, New Zealanders, Newsies, babaita bani aba New Zealand mzee. Kuba abamu Australia bata Aussies. Kati Newsies. So these guys, for them, I think they already started like echintu bwechiba bache so nyone balinda police ne chikola ne balinda ambulance ne chikola. We are going to that direction because I remember there is a guy yayocha wishiye agamba ye yayamba buyambi muntu boda gwe yali etomedde nene bamwefuulira ne moroka ne bagikwata najja najocha ne yeyongerayo. You get, yeah? But the guys in Auckland, for us, we this is no more. Even me, I can help you now. I'm not seeing you, but I can help you. In this week's comparison, guys, let's compare the Yumanya Kamoroka Katonoka baita Suzuki Alto. Suzuki Alto. I want to compare it with the Vitz today. Why? For the people that are buying cars to simply take their kids to school, to drive the car to the market to buy groceries, to just move around the village, okulia jajjao mama ukamoroka kamutambuza mobility in the village. Let's compare these two cars because the Suzuki Alto has engines that range from 600cc to 1 liter or to 1000cc. Yet the Toyota Vitz also has engines that range from 1000cc to 1.5 liters or 1500cc. Why am I comparing the same? Because one will give you very good fuel efficiency, one will give you stability of almost the car. I've driven Vitz, I've not driven the Alto. But I'm comparing these cars because if you're the kind of person that is looking for a car that will not only give you efficiency, but also give you safety for your kids, baveku border. There are people that abera gayaza, abana abatwala, what school is there? Baluka home is dale nyawo. I think. Oba obera old Kampala, oyagala kutwala abana ku Aga Khan. Oba obera Buziga, oyagala kutwala abana in Buziga area. Why buy a Vitz if the only role is to take kids to school and pick them? Buy a Suzuki Alto, which is 600cc, and see your people enjoy. Now, what's the downside? The upside is that Suzuki Alto, very small car, like they'll show you the image there. Very small car, very good efficiency. The Suzuki Alto will give you between 20 kilometers per hour up to like 28. Here, locally in Gakaramu. and doing the distances that I've told you about, not jam, it will live long if you just subject it to that kind of work. Vewaka, genda katale, komao. You live in Chebando, the maid drives that kaka to Kalero Market back to Chebando. Take the kids, you live in Chebando, you take the kids to somewhere in Kamocha, go back home. You need to understand, I'm comparing the uses of this car, not the actual cars. Now, if on the other hand you want a car that you're going to also take up country, sometimes the Suzuki Alto might not be your car, because you might go up country and not come back in a car. Or probably you might go up country, come back in your car on a car carrier. So you need to choose wisely. But I've told you what those two cars. Now, what's the other side? The other side is when you look at spares, the Suzuki Alto spare parts will be rare and expensive. But if you subject the Suzuki Alto to only the things I've told you to subject it to, you will not have to buy spare parts for like 2 to 3 years because it won't break down. The body parts of the Suzuki Alto will be expensive because it's not as common as the Vitz. And also, if you're going to buy it used, don't buy it used. Go to the point. The price range is probably going to be the same or a little less. But if you're buying a Suzuki Alto, simply do errands around the house, take kids to the school, to the market and all that, you should import this car. Because I'm imagining you already have 2 or 3 cars in your home. So import the car, omanyente ne moroka ne made wangenda mufunira permit, okitegeera. Abenga avuga abaana abatwala kusomera. You are saving your kids from a border. Border effects can be very dire. Or take it. And this week's tip is about overheating of cars. Now, if your vehicle has ever exhibited signs of overheating, check the entire cooling system. Bwekiba kisoboka radiator jijeyo, look at it. Look at the fan, look at the cover, look at the pipes, all of them. Examine every part of your cooling system. Why? Every time a car almost overheats, it can they expand and contract. That's it, yeah? The radiator tops, butopa radiator tewubera bwa chuma, busobola okwononeka from heat. Okitegeera nosigala ng'emmoroka yeko ekendeza amazzi naye nga tomanyi. So if your car has ever gone beyond the recommended heat, make sure you examine the entire cooling system to make sure that you're okay. And then, of course, I told you last time, and I keep telling you, buy coolant for your car. Coolant will stop the corrosion in the engine and all that. But should your car exhibit any kind of overheating, don't take it for granted. Yeah. For example, if I'm ever admitted to a bed, then I'll start being very careful. Why? Because I know people that have been on hospital beds all their life. Still they are reckless. So overheating you need to start being careful. Thank you very much for being part of this week's episode of the Car Weekly Roundup. I hope it has been a good 10 minutes. I wish you a very lovely weekend. Don't drink and drive, and don't forget to put it on. You say dibaji garao taso ya garao. I'll see you next Saturday, and don't forget we have a broadcast every day, Monday to Friday, 7:25 a.m. to Batutandise, and then on Saturday and Sunday the broadcast happens at 5 p.m. 5:20. I wish you a very lovely day. Ciao.